We are live. Episode 3 of Don't You Fret. I have with me today Bobby Lynge from Fit for a King. You can see
Hello.
you can see below his face. It says professional breakdownist.
It's true.
It is very true.
Yep, it's true. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, of course. It's been a
Happy to
long
be.
time since I've seen you.
I saw you. We were in Alabama.
No, actually, I think the last time I saw you was we played that outdoor venue in Dallas, I think.
No.
Totally, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You came through with Crystal Lake,
North Lane, yeah.
North Lane. Yes. Okay. So that was not that long ago.
No, I kind of remember. Well, I mean, it's been a year now, which is crazy. But um, how are
That
you,
was my
man?
first time. That was my first time seeing Crystal Lake.
That's an experience.
I had no clue. I mean, I had
Yeah,
heard.
I think that's like they're such a good band, and they're so new to the states that like that's everyone's response, right? They're like, "What is this band like? How have I
Yeah.
just now hearing about them?"
Yeah. And what's genius about it is like the guitars are so simple
Mm-hmm.
and you don't realize that until you watch them play their songs, and it's like the drums and the vocals that just, I mean,
Crush.
it kind of makes you just rethink or just kind of evaluate what you've been doing as a guitarist over the years, just kind of thinking like, man, if you have all this talent in front of you and behind you, like, just highlight that. But Rio is on just another level. There's nobody like him.
I agree, 100%. I think there was some. We played a show with them on that tour in Detroit, and it was like a pretty small venue, and they had like rafters above the stage.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend, no, it was Pennsylvania actually. It was Philly. It was a small venue in Philly upstairs. My girlfriend was with me, and I went to hang out with her for a second. I was like, let's go watch Crystal Lake for like 5 minutes. Let's watch it. We go out
Yeah.
side stage, and he's upside down from the rafters by his legs, screaming, grabbing onto like a dude in the pit because that's where he's like hanging over. Like it was like that much space. But
Yeah.
the dude is crazy.
The last show, so Fit for a King had Crystal Lake out uh, on their headliner, like, right when everything shut down, and they're playing in Joliet. I don't know what club it was. Is there only one place to play in Joliet?
Probably that venue that everyone played 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rio, during Crystal Lake's set, crowd surfs from the stage to the back of the room and then gets people to lift him up, and he climbs somehow up onto the balcony and is in the second floor just by climbing on other humans.
Okay, this is my
Yeah.
this is my favorite Rio story. On that same tour, we played the orphanage in Florida. Called,
Orphanage?
is that not right?
Orpheum?
Orpheum. You're that's it. Hey man, I don't tour anymore. It's been a
Yeah,
year.
no one does.
We play the Orpheum,
Yeah.
and their set starts with like a blast beat, and he just
Yeah.
starts running like in time with the blast beat on people's heads into the crowd. And that just
And they
set,
love it.
and they opened that tour, which they shouldn't have really. They were like probably the sickest band on that whole package.
Yes.
Um, and after the set, I'm like, dude, every band had to go so hard that set because you have to, right? You can't let the band
Yep.
before you show you up, even though they probably
Yep.
still did. I was like,
And
dude,
it's nice
I was
not
like,
playing directly after them.
yes,
Like,
yeah, we got currents
the
to
buffer.
cushion us, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I talked to him after yes, it's Orpheum, thank you. I talked to him after the set, and I was like, dude, you ran on people's heads, and his response was, I like Dillinger. And I was like, okay, but that doesn't mean you have to run on people's heads.
Hey,
He's a showman, 100%.
he is. Yeah. And just kicks it up a notch. It makes you wonder what's lying over in Japan that we just have the bands, we have no idea. Like, what else is happening over there?
Have you been to Japan? Have you played there?
Never been.
So I will say that even the first time we went years ago, every local band was sick.
I believe it.
Like they would shred, they would have
Yeah.
like really cool like samples and all. Like they just go above and beyond, no matter what like size they are as a band. Which I could probably say that Americans do that too. Like the common thing about like local bands having scrims and like doing stuff.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But in Japan, it's just executed well. I don't know
Yeah.
the difference.
Maybe they're just better players, just better performers.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
But
what's Fit for a King up to these days?
so we did an album with Drew Folk. Let's see, it was January of this year,
Okay.
and it was just great because we're in LA for 6 weeks, and like it's gorgeous weather.
Before the quarantine.
Right before it, yeah, we were.
Oh yeah, I guess I was actually there for NAMM around the same time.
Yeah, and I remember people getting sick at NAMM. I remember people coming back and like, yo, I was there and I have COVID or like something similar to COVID. But that was definitely before there was like any like proper testing for the virus. But we remember watching the news when we were at the studio being like, man, like at the time, the footage that you were seeing in China was just like, it looked like the end of the world was happening, you know? And now you wonder like how inflated and like, I don't know. It obviously was a very, very severe situation in China, and we were just like, man, if this hits over here,
it probably
it's a good thing we're knocking out this record now.
Yeah.
Not looking good.
We also recorded our record right before everything started and hit.
It's great timing.
It is
because Drew, like everything got pushed back for him. You know, obviously no one's flying, no one's really traveling, so he's like, well, everything's just kind of postponed.
Well, I'm sure you can attest to this too. It's like been a long time since recording a record and being able to like really take your time with that process, like the mixing.
Not really a thing anymore.
Oh no, it's not. I was just on Josh's podcast and we were talking about how record labels these days really they speed up the process for their own gains typically, and I'm not going to talk bad about record labels, but
yeah,
it's in their interest, right? Yeah, it's like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, but like I don't know, bands never put out content as fast as we do these days.
No, yeah, just with attention spans shortening and just, I mean, you're signing a deal. You might be signing your first deal with your label, and you have to fulfill an album every 18 months. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
So is this process helping you guys in the sense that like you can really take your time in releasing and it's like kind of actually a more comfortable process right now?
Yeah, it's been chill. I don't know. I really think that the rollout would just kind of be business as usual, even if bands were touring. Since I stopped touring with the band, everything has just kind of been like happening over here, and then I like chime in when I need to chime in. So it was cool getting to go to Atlanta and film a bunch of videos and get a bunch of content together,
which we also just filmed with the same guys. So
yeah, Hometown Crew, Kevin and all them, they're phenomenal.
Huge shout out. Yeah, that was the most pleasant experience I've ever had. I say constantly that music videos is my least favorite part of being in a band.
Yeah, it's not very fun. It's cool now because you're like, oh, I get to hang out with my friends for the first time in forever. That's and like the experience that we had was wild.
Well, and what I'll say is that they, as a crew, made it the least painful experience. Like, I don't mind it anymore now that I know what doing music videos it can be like. But it's typically the band members are doing all the work themselves. They're building a set or something. You do that for 8 hours, and then you film for a whole other 8. I hate it. I hated it so much.
And you just realize when you're working with like top-notch guys when like you need like 3 takes. And then
Yeah.
he's like, that's it. Like, we're good. We might get some more drums, we might get some more vocals, but like, that's it.
Yeah.
Hour and a half, whatever. You know, but because everything is shut down and there's no concerts, we had the Masquerade to ourselves for like basically 2 whole days to film this like thing. And I mean, if people saw pictures and like, I mean, you could probably put together what we did.
Yeah, you guys put out a lot of content around that time.
Yeah, it was great. You know, we were able to bring Trevor Fitz, like he was selling merch and doing photo stuff.
Yeah.
Just so he was able to fly out, which was awesome because he's like, get me out of freaking Arizona. Like, let's go. So, you know, because of the pandemic, we were able to have that venue to ourselves. And then, but you could feel it in the air. You could feel some weirdness, like the production crew. But, you know, there's a few guys with Hometown, and then there's all the guys with the venue. And it's like, no, there's like 20 people here or so. And like, this is not really like what I saw myself doing right now, because we have just been isolating ourselves and we're staying away. And then it was like, well, we're just gonna jump in. Like, this just has to get done.
Yeah.
We need these videos. Like, we need this content for the band. It was so crucial. So we were all out there, like, masks on, like, being careful. Yeah, being really careful. We took them off whenever we filmed.
Yeah.
But, you know, part of me was just like, should we? I don't know. Should we have them on? But the cool thing is, nobody was sick. Nobody got sick.
Right.
And life goes on.
We were definitely less careful than that. But this happened maybe a month or two before you guys did it. It's hard to like, the time frame these days are so weird. I can't believe like a year has just gone by. So it's like
freaking August, man.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's insane.
It is really. I feel like the year's just getting started, and it's about to be my birthday, and I'm not ready for that. Like, I lost a whole year. It's not fair. I'm turning 27 again. I'm skipping it.
That's fair. Yeah, I turned 29 in May, and it was just the most like
underwhelming.
Well, yeah, nothing matters. Like,
wow.
Yeah,
that's positive.
Whatever.
I threw my girlfriend a quarantine birthday. I decorated the house for her and just tried to make it as special as I could. But it's like, at the end of the day, she kind of felt like, well, I would be in like Paris right now or something, because she travels a lot and she's really suffering because one of her biggest passions is.
Yeah.
But it's the whole world, right? We're all sad together, so it makes it a little easier for me when I think of it that way.
Yeah, except for New Zealand. They're all happy.
Yeah, well, whatever. They can be happy. To backtrack a little bit, I did want to say how much I respect you for...
Thanks.
When I heard that you were taking a step back out of touring and just going to do what you do with the band, in the back of my mind, I definitely was like, oh, he's going to be part of the band at home, because you hear about a lot of dudes who do that and then they just kind of fall off the face of the planet. But you are a giant part of Fit for a King, and I respect you a lot, dude.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, I just I don't know who could have like stepped in to like make a Fit for a King record the way that, and it's not just me. It's like the way that I contribute to the music and just like what I do with my hands is just like a part of the recipe. So it's not just, I don't know, I just don't know who could have popped in. You think about bands that have songwriters replaced.
You can always tell, for sure.
You can always tell, and I don't know, like, very few get away with it. I think a good example of a band that like Chelsea Grin nailed it. Like, Spieve like hops in and is just like, this is sick now. Yeah. Now. I'm doing this and it's wild. But, you know, I mean, and there could be others, but I just wasn't confident that Fit for a King was going to keep rolling the way that it did if I just like totally and like fully backed out. And, you know, also it's such a big passion of mine and something that's so important to me that like I didn't want to let it go
Right.
fully. And so but
Well, correct me if
like
I'm
that.
wrong. I think you guys upgraded in the sense that you obviously had to take a step back because
Hmm.
we had a deep talk in my car one night at Zydeco about you telling me.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and I understand completely why you don't want to tour or had to take time away from it or whatever.
Yeah.
But then you guys gained a shredder of a guitar player in your place. So then now
Yeah.
you have your songwriting abilities and you on music for your band, but you also you got an
Yeah.
upgrade as a shredder. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't think it could have gone any worse.
No.
I mean, any better.
And I don't, it could like, yeah, no, Daniel, it's wild. Like we have like similar abilities, like our, like we play just very similarly, but well, regarding like the rhythm territory,
Riffs,
like,
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, our right hands move the same, but our left hands do not. And yeah, so just like the the title track to the path that and the album we're putting out in September has the craziest solo in
Right,
it.
yeah, because I was about to say he's tracking solos for you guys, right? Yeah.
Yes. And man, just dude,
And for those of you who don't know, we're
it's
talking about
great.
Daniel Gailey from Phineas,
Phineas.
who
Yeah,
came
and he's
over,
still in Phineas.
right?
He's still doing that band. Um, but
We took Phineas out on a headliner, and I remember watching him solo live, and I was like, "Really? Your band needs that? Like that shred?"
man,
But he's a great guitar player.
yeah,
He
yeah, he
he
just
deserves to be in the biggest band, and you guys are killing it right now, and I'm happy for all of
thank you,
you. Yeah, of
thank
course.
you. And also Daniel's vocals. He
Really?
sings great. He scream. Yeah, his voice. I don't know. He's on the album. I don't know like how I can't think of how many songs right now, but dude, yeah, his voice is kind of scattered all throughout, and just it's a new register. It's a new element
Right.
that we've never had before. Yeah. He has this really intense, like super high, like it's a scream more maybe I don't know, it's a scream, but it has like a pitch to it, and he can get like way up there.
Well,
So,
he has a pretty
and
high
then
voice too to start with,
he
which is
does,
yeah,
yeah, but
he uses it to his advantage.
and he's spot on. He nails it. Yeah, he's just super talented, and what's awesome, what I love. I mean, one of the things I love about him, he's extremely OCD, extremely meticulous. So that's another area, like another way that the band upgraded when Daniel stepped in, because like things that I did, like just regarding like building the session and like getting tracks ready, like levels would be off, like things would be, I would just be like, what, like, I don't know, front of house can fix it, like just little things like that, where I would just be like, I got a million other things going on. I hate backtracks. Like Daniel is like nails on everything across the board, and he implements that into everything that he does.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm that way with certain things, and then I'm not that way at
Right.
all with
Yeah.
certain things. So that's just a huge plus, just a massive upgrade for the guys, because his attention to detail it just never slips. So it's it's good. Yeah, just a big upgrade.
You guys picked up a
And
good one for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and we had like options. There are different people that we talked to. There are different people that went on tour with the band, and yeah, I think he traveled with Fit for a while before like fully committing to it. Yeah, he filled in on like a European tour. Emir took him out on tour in Europe, and Daniel was there filling in, and may have done some other things, but it took a while for him to be like, okay, like, yeah, let's do this.
Well, yeah,
So
especially having his own band. It's always really hard to make that decision because
yeah,
your band will suffer a little bit just because it's taking time away, but I think it was the right call personally.
Yeah, it's hard to step back and kind of like analyze the reality of what's going on, and if you just feel like one path is bigger and better than the other, then I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like a touchy thing to talk about, I
Yeah.
guess. But the cool thing is like since like he's just a full time musician, he's able to devote time to Phineas, and he's still able to write. And he writes songs like a madman. I mean, he can crank out audio like yeah, I mean, so quickly. So, uh, but Sean, their singer, like he's a dad. Um,
Graphic
Isaiah,
artist.
their drummer,
They all have
their
side gigs too.
yeah, Isaiah started playing with like Mazda Flames.
Oh, I didn't know
So,
that. That's crazy.
and then Bryce, um, their bass player, is now like stagehand, like guitar tech, drum tech for like different bands. And whenever we're like, hey Daniel, do you want to come play? Hey Bryce, do you want to come tech?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like we're like,
Half the band's
Bryce,
still hanging
like,
out.
come on. But like I mean, they love Bryce. He does everything perfectly. I mean, he said, I mean, yeah, it's a good situation
Yeah.
for all of them. So yeah, so that's that.
Well,
Love Daniel.
we
Love
can
Bryce.
we can roll into a little bit of the backbone of this podcast. Tell me about young Bob.
Okay.
When you were learning guitar, what was driving you at that time?
Just this like magnetic, almost like second nature feeling, just like waking up, immediately playing guitar. Even when I was bad, even when I was learning, it was just something that I just like gravitated towards without even thinking about it. Coming home from school and immediately picking up my guitar. And it was the same thing with my drum set. Same thing with drums. Like just always wanted to be playing music. And I grew up with like a piano in the house and just always tinkered on that. And then when like middle school came around, I got into like the concert band. And I think it stemmed. Both my parents are musicians. My
Okay.
dad was a band director in North
Oh, wow. I
Texas
didn't know that.
for like ever, and my mom was a private clarinet teacher forever.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they still sing in like different choirs and like do things locally. So I just was surrounded by music growing up. And um, yeah, my dad said I was in the 6th grade, and I was in like the beginner band percussion class, and we had this like competition. And he goes, if you get ones across the board in this competition, then I'll buy you an acoustic guitar. I was like, great. So nailed it, got the guitar, and just like never looked back. Eventually got like the Ibanez pack with the amp,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
Geo, the G10,
Yeah.
whatever it is, had that. Um,
Was your dad
just
your
never
band
looked back.
director?
No, that would have
Okay.
been cool. He was just in a different school district. No, and by the time I was in high school, or I guess by the time I was in middle school, he was like principal.
Oh,
He
okay.
had
Okay.
changed,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, switched career paths. But yeah, and they just like fully endorsed my like passion
Any
for music.
creativity in that sense, basically.
Yeah, when I was like leaving middle school, I remember it was time to get a new computer, and they bought an iMac because it had like GarageBand and stuff like that. So they were like, let's get something, and started recording. I don't know. Did you have like Finale on your computer? Like, right? Yeah.
So I played concert band growing up, and I
Yeah.
know
So of course, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
So I had
Finale.
that.
Finale is sick, actually. It's like the Guitar Pro of an orchestra. You know what I mean?
Dude, you could just get lost in that.
I
You
think a
could
lot of
just
people
go
don't know
on.
about Finale, if I'm going to be honest.
Probably not. I don't know how I learned about. I mean, I guess our computer probably had it because my dad needed it.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
it's
loved
not
it.
something that came on computers. It was a very expensive software.
Yeah.
It was
I
like
loved
the Photoshop, but for concert band. It was sick. It was an awesome software.
Yeah, so I was like already writing songs in that, not realize I was writing songs. Had
Wow, that's
no,
cool.
yeah, had no clue. And then when GarageBand came around and there's like plugins and you can actually like record audio, like I would just record my guitar like through the microphone of the computer. And then that all just kind of like slowly progressed and here I am. Yeah, I
Wow, I
mean,
haven't heard the word finale in regards to that in a long time. That's cool. That's really sick.
it was the jam.
So you
Yeah,
actually
it's kind of
started. You kind of skipped the like tab software phase. You went straight into pre-proing. You've been doing that ever since.
never did Guitar Pro.
Wow.
Never even messed
I
with
don't
it.
think you're missing out, except for the fact that now you can monetize your tabs through like
That's cool.
selling your tab books through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge
I mean,
thing right now.
it's really impressive. Because I can't even like visualize. I could probably read some tabs if I needed to. I mean, I've definitely read tablature, but just to think about like songs being written in full chords,
That's how
riffs,
Era does it.
like,
Jesse's been doing it since he was a teenager.
and I think Polyphia is the same way.
August Burns Red, Protest the Hero. It was definitely like the way to do it for a long time.
That's just so
Because you know,
wild.
Protest the Hero, those are the dudes that own Sheet Happens, which is the company that.
I did not know that.
Okay, so if you do ever want your stuff tab booked out, Sheet Happens actually offers the ability to learn your music by ear and tab it out themselves. Which those dudes shred, and I know a lot of look at you, you're like, no, they won't.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
if you ever want to go that route, I think they send you like they'll send you like proofs to make sure that it's right and stuff. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you are in contact with them. It is your music that they're tabbing out.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is a really sick business. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't think anyone else does it, and I know there's a lot
Never
of
would have
money in
thought.
tab. Yeah, I know there's a lot of money in tab books. Well,
But
because I mean,
not.
picture
I don't.
yourself and me when I was a teenager. Like the only way we learned guitar was probably through like cheesy DVDs.
Oh yeah.
YouTube wasn't even really a thing then. So like,
No, it was DVD and like just learning by ear.
yeah,
And like that, I don't know how to play very many songs that like other people have written because yeah, there was really
there wasn't
no
an
way.
avenue for it, right? Yeah,
Yeah, you like I definitely had some like song books, chord charts, tabs, got the basics, and then if there was like a Foo Fighters riff or a Green Day riff that I like wanted to learn, I would figure it
you'd put
out.
that CD on and repeat that first 10 seconds of that
Yeah,
song 100 times. Yeah, that fun
yeah,
stuff.
and same thing with drums, like putting on headphones, noise canceling headphones, and then just learning stuff. But yeah, I mean, I there's probably less than like 10 songs, 10 commercial songs that I can
Okay,
play
so if you guys don't use tabs, how does Daniel learn all the music?
just by ear.
Oh, that's
Um,
crazy. Do you have to proof it?
yeah, I trust him.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, and these days you have DIs, you have stems from the record, so he can dump in the
Solo it out.
DIs. Yeah, he has every DI of every song that he's playing, so he can put that in his computer, listen to just the pickup, and then put like a little bit of drive on it, and then play along. And yeah, dude, I don't think I have ever helped Daniel learn how to play a Fit for a King song.
That's sick.
Not one time. Yeah, everybody else that's filled in, they've needed like videos and like instructions and like breakdowns on things. And he figured it all out. Whenever we got together to do these like music videos, I was asking him for help on stuff because
Right.
we have an album from 2017 called Dark Skies that I've never played a single song off of. I was in the studio when they were written, and of course I recorded them, but
Oh, it's a different. Yeah.
but whenever those songs were being played for the first time, Trey from Invent Animate was playing guitar for me.
I don't think anyone knows songs as well as the touring musician because you're playing them
Probably
out
not.
every night. You can attest to
Yeah.
this. It's like
Yeah.
There's songs, there's era songs I'm definitely so tired of because I'll be worried about like playing it or like executing it live, and then before
Yeah.
a tour, I'm like, all right, I should run through this. Then I just nail
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, right, like
You're
it's
like,
just part
I'm
of me.
awesome.
No, it's not
Yeah.
that. It's just it's so ingrained in my muscle memory. Like I will never forget those songs whether I want to or not. It's just part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that it's cool getting to that point. That's how you know you've been doing it for a long time. I mean, I hadn't played a show since like May of 2018.
Okay.
And then these shoots in Atlanta, we played like our set a lot, and there it was like just over a 2-year break since I had even like stood up while playing guitar.
Wow.
So of course I'm a little like, how's this gonna
Yeah.
go? Like, what's gonna happen? I knew I was gonna be stiff and sore, like that was a given.
Oh,
But yeah, so you can imagine that, because like even day one of a tour, you're like, oh
I
god, my neck.
I was worried.
Yeah,
Day 2 of filming music videos, I thought the content's gonna suffer because I'm gonna look like an old man. Like it was not
but it's
good.
fine.
It was
It's
fine.
fine.
It was fine, but wow, I was hurting.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. But it all just comes rushing back.
Yeah.
Even that big 2-year break, like it's like when the moment we started playing, it's like I had never stopped.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was also my first time playing with in-ears, and that is really cool.
You like
Obviously. Yeah, come on. Of course. You don't? Whoa. What's not to like?
Um, did you guys have cabs too? Was it just
No.
contained? See, I miss cabs so much. You'll never beat the feeling of being on stage with a cab to me. I feel like you lose a lot of feel, which most of my guitar playing is feel based. Like if I'm gonna be
Sure.
honest,
That's fair.
I like struggled moving to Kemper from real amps and stuff because I lost feel, and then
Yeah.
to like take it a next step further, I lost cabs and I lost more feel, and like I still to this day play with one ear out, and it's so bad for my hearing, but I can't not do it. Like my playing suffers really bad.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, the last time I played, we were on amps and everything, and obviously everyone has like streamlined and gotten Kempers or Axes. So whenever we go to like do this shoot, I needed a rig, but it needed to be like, I guess, digital, or it just needed to be cabless. So I was like, well, I'll just use the amp in the in the Helix, and it was so bad. It was so
that is not where I thought you were gonna go with that at all.
it just I was like, this is not gonna work. So I was just like, I just made the chain in the box in the Helix, and then used my 5150 as a power amp, ran it through a 412, and I just could not get it to be anywhere as good as like the red channel or even like the blue channel on the 5150. So called Daniel and was like, dude, I'm thinking about just like running the STL tones thing in my computer and just hitting the X32 out of an interface. And he's like, if it's, yeah.
No, that totally would
like,
work. I feel like that's almost a better route than.
That's what I did, and it was crazy.
Okay, so
sounded insane.
My main thing is that I feel like I know my Kemper's tones so well because I built it. It's my baby, honestly. Like I've been playing the same tone since we toured together on Frozen. Since Frozen Flame, I got my Kemper.
Yeah.
And like the tone I hear coming through my in-ears is just not my tone. Like I just hate it. It's like hearing your voice recorded and it's not like what you hear
weird.
in your head.
Yeah.
Well, it's just because it's like it's different speakers. It's speakers in tiny little earpieces opposed to a 4x12 speaker. Like So
yeah, that's true. So do you build your tones like through your monitors, and then just kind of hope that it translates?
I've always built my tone through cabs, and I take the critique from my sound guys super personally. So basically, if they tell me that I could lose like a frequency, I take that to heart because they're hearing it. And then by the end of the tour, like I've worked with, we've gone through a decent amount of sound guys. That actually drives me crazy. But by the end of the tour, they're happy with my tone, and I'm happy with my tone because like they don't have to do much to it. Oh.
Yeah. I guess just like as we get older and like just life gets crazier, the less you have to like carry and like plug in and do.
Well, you say that, but in-ears, that rack like falls on me on tour, and my life is more stressful than it ever has been on tour.
So that's fair. I guess it's all perspective.
Yeah.
Because with Fit, they have Bryce and they have Brian, dude.
Oh yeah, Brian's worked with us on a tour, and that's one of the best dudes alive.
He is there, and
anytime I have a sound guy come on tour and take that responsibility as much away as they can, which
then of course you'd be like,
I love them, but at the same time, admittedly, I also make it a kind of difficult for them to do that because like I'm like Daniel in that aspect. I'm very OCD about how our in-ear rack is run.
Yeah.
I patch it every day, which I patch our entire like set. So like as a guitar player for era that I used to just plug in one DI, you know what I mean? But now that we have the in-ear system, I'm plugging the entire show. And
until you get a front of house that is always with you and like is just like, I'll do this.
Yeah, I don't know why that's always been so hard for us. I don't know why we can't find that one magic person.
Yeah, it's just the time and place. Like when we met Brian, we were on tour with a band that he was working with, and things weren't the best for him with the other band he was working with, and we were like, can we like steal you? Like, can we do that? And we just got along so great, and like now, like
let me say this too. I don't think there's such thing as stealing a crew guy. I don't know. It depends. It does depend, but a crew guy is going to work with whoever he feels happy with, and you can't change that at the end of the day.
Right. So
you can always offer more money, but I know plenty of guys who've gotten offered a lot of money to work with some people, and they say no. So like, I don't think stealing a crew guy is a thing. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
If you offer the same amount of money as anyone else and they pick you, that's it's like at the end of Air Bud, you know?
The exact same.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's the same. So, but yeah, Brian has made their lives so easy, so good. Yeah, it's hard to find someone that is like early in their career, doesn't have a band that they're like fully locked and committed to, and is like really talented but still affordable. I don't know. It's just there's so many different things that go into it, so it's not easy.
No.
Same thing as like a merch guy. You want the same merch guy every tour.
Oh, you want the same. Okay. For anyone who's watching and doesn't, any crew member is also part of your family because you're living in a van with these people. So like a crew person in my eyes now after touring is just as important as any band member to me.
Oh yeah.
It might not come that way through music. Like when you're listening to a band through their record, you know, the person who shines then is like who you hire to mix, blah, blah, blah. I'm getting off track. A crew person is so important to a band. And when you see them on tour, you should tell them you love them and hi, because they're working their ass off for the people coming to those shows too.
For sure. Yeah. Just the show wouldn't happen without those people. You know, there was a time when there was no crew, and that's still very much a thing, but that's just when bands are young and there's not a lot of people at the shows. And then eventually there's more and more and more people at the shows, and it's just like, I can't sell our merch anymore. Like I just can't. Yeah. There's just not enough time. There simply is not enough time. There needs to be one person here all the time. Like, I remember going to Europe for the first time, and we all like took turns.
I think every band's gone through that phase too.
Yeah, so you rotate shifts selling merch because you can't afford to bring anyone
And then
else.
someone
Like
ends
we
up
don't
working
have,
one really long shift.
yeah, or like one guy just
Yeah. It
blows
never
at
it,
selling merch.
it never
Yeah.
goes how it's supposed to ever.
No. So like me, I worry about everything, and like just have been a very bad like worrying type of person. So like when it comes to stuff like that, I just found myself like glued
The
to
merch
the merch
table.
because it's
Yeah.
like if no one's here, we're not selling
And then you're
anything,
not
we're not
enjoying
making
tour.
money. Not enjoying
Yeah.
tour, unless you just love interacting with people. But then you'd be in some like random city and you're not selling anything anyways, and you're just like,
Right.
why am I even here?
Yeah.
What's the point? So yes, crew
Crew is
just
crucial.
was so important. So important. And it's hard to find a really sick person that's awesome at their job that you can afford, that isn't already locked into something. So they're out there.
Yeah, they are. They're for sure. They're out there. Even like, I'm sure there's a house sound guy that would love to tour that we would love to have. Like it exists.
Totally.
It's just right place, right time. You put it. You
Well,
worded
and
it
that's
very
Brian.
well. Yeah, yeah.
Brian
Brian was a house sound guy in Arizona.
still is.
We
Works at the Nile.
Yep, true.
Or now
We had him
not.
as a house sound guy before we took him out on a tour.
Yeah.
It exists 100%.
Oh yeah.
Going back a little bit, growing up, young Bob, what were some of the bands that were driving you to be in a metal band?
Dude, my musical taste or whatever, I was just the guy that introduced me into heavy music was just like all over the place.
Okay.
And I feel like that's pretty normal. We're similar in age. There was a lot of like just like recordings weren't great. Bands were pretty bad and we didn't realize it. So like if you opened my CD book, it was like the Blood Brothers, Maylene and the Sons of Disaster.
Oh, that hits me right at home because those dudes were down the street from me.
Job for a Cowboy.
Wow.
Whitechapel, Chiodos, Devil Wears Prada, just like the most scene, like stereotypical scene music you could listen to. The thing that I don't know. I remember hearing that Born of Osiris EP and it like shattering my mind with like with like Abstract Art and like Bow Down.
Yeah. I definitely played that EP into the dirt 100%.
Yeah, that was the first time where I was like, okay, like what is happening here? Because it wasn't like death metal, but it wasn't like, I don't know, just but yeah, I was all over the place. But my favorite heavy bands, like Slipknot and the Acacia Strain, will always be my favorite metal bands. And then, we all like rock and roll.
Yeah, for sure. As guitar players, especially, it's it's a genre that allowed us to shine for a long time.
Totally, yeah. But they're all, I may not listen to those bands quite so much anymore, but like they're still my favorites. Like my musical taste really hasn't changed that much. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really feel like we probably would have been listening to the same stuff, I think. But
well, that's what's so crazy is that like for those listening to this, a lot of them are younger. That it's like weird to hear.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, I guess some of our bands would be some of they listen to, but it's so weird to think about because you're like, well, what about Meshuggah? What about Slipknot?
I didn't learn about Meshuggah until I was like out of high school.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just had no idea. And what the band that like got me into like doing like spacey leads on top of like djenty things was Volumes.
Yeah. No, yeah, that first EP they put out.
there's a video of like the two guitar players with their Axe FXs doing like playthroughs, and I was like, I've never heard anyone play guitar. I've never heard music like this before.
I
This
remember
is so
those
cool.
too. Yeah, those are really sick.
So like Kirby and I's first band was like it was like Volumes meets The Ghost Inside a little bit, and yeah, so I can't really think of anything else that I would have been listening to a ton. Nope, nothing else comes to mind.
Cool, yeah, we don't have to harbor on that. It's just interesting it's interesting to hear, because when people listen to your band, it's nice to hear like direct relations to like what inspired them to they are.
The person that inspired, or the band that inspires the way that I riff, is Slipknot.
Yeah.
You won't hear that. You won't hear that in like breakdowns, and you really won't hear it in like choruses. But anytime where it's like a single string riff, or like a weird, not even just like an octave riff, like it's all, and I don't know who writes what in that band, you know.
Yeah, I don't either.
you just, you know, you assume it's Jim Root writing everything, but then it's like it just might not be. So I don't know.
Well, when you write, do you have any like, you have a method at all, or are you more of just like, I've sit down today and if I get a song, like that's a successful day?
No method. It always stems from just sitting down and jamming, just playing guitar, playing what's fun, playing what sounds cool, play until I like what I'm playing, or play until I love what I'm playing, and then I'll map out drums to it. And then I'll write like a minute and a half, and I'll put it on Instagram. I have not done that in so long.
Yeah, I'm really bad at it too.
Dude, well, it's just when I was touring, I had nothing to do in between tours. So I would just sit and play guitar all day, and then like write until I had something cool, then film it and put it on the internet. And now the only time that I play guitar is between like 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. So it's just like the lighting is bad. I'm not focused on writing songs. I'm literally just practicing, just playing guitar. So I spent a lot of time, the majority of my time with Fit for a King, trying to write songs, almost like overthinking them. And the first album that we put out, I wrote like maybe half the record, and then our old guitarist Justin, if you ever met him,
I did,
wrote a little bit of it, and a lot of it was like group effort stuff. But I wasn't that great of a guitarist, and I just needed to write things that like sounded cool and like fit the time. So like we put out that album, Creation Destruction, and it was just really simple. We didn't overthink any of it. Some of the songs were like kind of old, and we had been sitting on them for a long time. But then when I was the only guitarist in the band, dude, I was just like all over the place with writing. And we put out the next record, and like our fans definitely liked it because it was just a very like metalcore album. But we didn't see a whole lot of like growth as a band. You know, it wasn't this like game changing record that, you know, so much time and so much effort and so much money goes into like this moment of releasing this album, and you want it to be substantial. You want it to like amount to something.
Yeah.
And it was really just kind of like a baby step for the band. And it was just this like kind of gradual thing. And like even the album that we did with Nick Sampson after that, it was like another like just baby step with the band. And
well, and that's okay too. Like when
it is okay
when you're taking baby steps up and you release 8 albums, you know, there's a lot of progress that's been made through that.
Absolutely.
And I would rather take a baby step up than a big step down. I'll say that.
For sure. Yeah, Fit for a King has never like fully blown it in terms of like
good
a release or like a whatever. Yeah. But
which some people do, you know, some.
Oh, it happens.
Yeah.
It definitely happens. So,
So I mean, you're successful in my eyes in that regard. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I guess maybe,
You definitely always look back wanting something a little different, and I think that's all albums from all musicians
yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah. But it wasn't until Dark Skies, the record that we released a couple years ago, that I was like, okay, maybe the music that like what I'm trying to write and what I'm trying to do with this band like isn't what is like fully, I'm being careful with what I'm saying, isn't like the best or like the biggest move with our music. I just kind of realized that like the things that I was writing, I had pre-prod. I don't know, man. I think I've probably written like 100 songs that the band has just been like,
Wow.
this is not like this isn't it,
Yeah.
and then we worked with Drew Folk, and I was like just kind of in the zone of just like we're just like working on this record together. It was the first time we'd ever been with someone that was actually like a just a very smart songwriter, just a very intelligent, like grounded, level-headed, and also the first time that we weren't working with someone that not well. It's like the first album we did, Andreas Magnuson, he's a drummer, but he loves like weird things and
Yeah.
loves just like going for it. So he like lets you like tinker and he lets you get lost in the music. But then you do a record with Putney and Randy, they're guitar guys. The focus is on the guitar. You do a record with Nick Sampson, obviously a guitar guy.
That's so
Emphasis
funny.
is on the
Yeah.
guitars. And I'm having a blast. I can do whatever I want. I can go crazy, harmonizing everything. It's nuts. But is that really
Is
what
that
the
what the
music
song
needs?
needs? Yeah. Yeah.
And depending on the band, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But when you have a guy like Ryan Kirby that needs just a very like solid foundation to do his thing on top of, maybe chill out on the guitars a little bit. And so working with Drew, you know, it didn't go exactly like this, but to put it short, he was just like, I don't really care what you do on the guitar, just like make sure it sounds good. And that's it. So,
Well, and
to
like
start,
in our genre too, like even though he feels that way, guitar is such a pertinent part of our music.
yeah,
And
it
you
has to be sick.
and you
It
really
has
can't
to be.
escape it. Like even if you go to a
No,
producer who hates guitars, he's not going to be able to hide guitars in this genre
no,
because they have to be there and they have to be
yeah.
strong.
And he was basically like, you've gotten to this point, you're releasing this album, like people are paying attention to your band, like you obviously like know what you're doing. Just relax, like let's just write some really great songs and just go from there. And
I've
even
heard
on that
nothing but
album,
amazing things about Drew Folk, and I do know that he produces a lot of stuff that he touches.
yeah, yeah, he's just he's so focused, so driven, super hard work. I mean, he's waking everyone up in the morning, like he's the first one to the studio, like he man, yeah, he I could go on and on about Drew. He is just a great friend, awesome dude, and just extremely intelligent. And it's like he just has this like ability to see like this is exactly what needs to happen right here in this moment, or that's not it. Like redo it. And dude, just his judgment is amazing. And what's awesome is that starts to rub off on you
Oh
because
yeah.
you start to hear things the way that he hears things, start to see things the way he sees things, and you start to see yourself improving as a songwriter and improving in just all the areas, all the things that you thought mattered a lot start to kind of go away, and you are able to look at like the big picture. And I think for a lot of guitarists, it can be hard to kind of let go of like shredding and playing things that are fun and playing things that are hard, playing things that sound hard and all of that stuff. You know, if you're just this like true like virtuoso, super talented, I feel like Era falls in this vein. Like if you guys are just like phenomenal players and people love your music because of the technicality of the music, then like yeah, do that. Like because obviously that's what people want and you're great at it. But
Well,
when
thank you
you're
for
like
saying that.
me, and no, it's totally true. I think everybody watching, everybody that likes Arrow, like there's just so much talent in the musicians, and not that like I'm not saying I'm like bad at guitar by any means, but like just my version of like playing things that are hard and like playing things that I think are cool is not the like end all for Fit for a King.
I get what you're saying.
Not by any means, you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just it's not the end game for our band. So, and I didn't realize that. Maybe I'd kind of always known, but it just really sunk in and like hit home working with Drew. And yeah, he had a lot to say about Kirby, put a lot of stock and a lot of confidence in Kirby, and was basically like, you just need to like let that dude do his thing. And like, you know, like the guitars can shine when they need to shine, but for the most part, just set him up, just tee him up so he can just go off. And so that's what we started doing, and it's been good so far. That's like when that mindset shifted, and or whenever we kind of got there as a band, that's when we started seeing things that weren't just like baby steps with the band. So
I'm excited to hear it,
yeah.
man. I really am.
Well, I hope you like it. We're putting out a new song with a music video on Friday.
That's sick.
And it is my favorite Fit for a King song
Ever. Nice.
ever.
Yeah.
I really think it means a lot when you can put on your own. After doing this for so long, I'm sure you can agree, like if you can like put on one of your own tracks and just listen to it on repeat, and if you can like go like for hours down the road in your car and listen to this song on repeat,
it's a very rare thing as a musician, I feel like.
It just does not happen.
Yeah,
I mean, it
yeah.
was a thing when I were young and you like finished your pre-pro and you're just stoked on this thing that you
Yeah.
wrote because you're like, wow, I can't believe I have this thing that I like wrote and then I bounced and now it's in my car. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, but now all these years later, just getting to a point to where I remember finishing this song and then Drew uploading it to the Dropbox and laying in my bed in the studio and just being like, I cannot believe what I'm listening to right now.
I have similar thoughts
ready.
on our material right now too. I listened to it on a drive home from like a little. I stay at a cabin like 3 hours north,
Yeah.
and I'm excited, man. I don't know if it has something to do with like not being on the road as much,
Yeah.
and like maybe I'm not immersed in my band as much as I'm used to, but like
Sure.
I'm excited, and it's a weird feeling.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a great feeling.
It's great. Yeah. Because I'm sure a part of you knows that like you're growing as players, you're growing as a band. Like, you know, the longer JT is with you guys, like just the more like unified and like glued together. And obviously, what is it? This is like his third or fourth,
which
third
would be
record.
more than any other vocalist Era's ever had.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So I guess by now that's not really a thing, but
no, but it is in the viewer's eyes or in the listener's eyes.
That's kind of how I've looked at it.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, because even though JT's probably time spent also gets to a different thing because Garrison obviously throughout high school did part of Era and stuff.
Yeah.
But like a listener and a fan of your band only hears it through the music you release. So like
yeah,
our first 2 albums feel like a long time because it was 2 album cycles, but like now it's pretty insignificant, but you know,
Yeah.
a weird thought.
Well, I'm excited to hear New Era.
I'm excited for everyone to hear New Era, and I'm excited for everyone to hear New Fit. I'm very our 2 bands have been on this like straight path alongside each other for a long time, and I'm very happy that
Since it all started in like 2011
yeah.
when us and Era played for the first time. Dude, it was just it was as playing at a church. The promoter made us pancakes for catering.
The good old days, you know?
We're playing dodgeball in the gym. It's just like the most 2011 like small tour. Yeah,
Vibe.
just very much so. But like watching Era, watching Adam, watching like, and just being like, what the hell is happening with this music? Like there's like 9 people here, and this is the sickest band I've ever seen play. Like just simple as that.
We've been best friend bands for a long time, honestly. Straight up.
But we didn't meet until 2015.
15, really?
I met you on Frozen Flame, unless there was something before that.
There was.
What was before?
Man, we went to Canada with Plot and you. Didn't we? Yeah, we did. For sure.
What was that tour?
I was playing bass back then.
With Era?
Mm-hmm.
Era, I Declare War?
Yep. And that was years before that. So
that was 12 or 13.
Yeah.
That was my first time in Canada.
Same. I mean, I think that was my second tour ever. So yeah, we knew each other for a while.
Man, yeah, that tour, it was what, like 13 shows.
Was that the Jamboree Festival as well, or was that another?
Definitely played the Jamboree on that.
With Hatebreed. I remember that.
Yeah.
And someone shot a gun in the air or something. Remember that?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, there was like some like white supremacist group that like came to the club in Ohio, and no, it was a cop that shot. There was like a fight was about to break out
between that group. Yeah.
And I remember
the cop was just like, you know what, I'm not putting up with this shit today. Like fucking air cap real quick.
Yeah. That was a good show. I miss those.
Oh, that was festivals. So for me playing bass in Era in my second tour ever. I think we started that tour with Jamboree, and I was like, "Is this my life now?" Like it was insane. Like that show was huge. No. Right? No. Yeah. It didn't. It wasn't that. But that was definitely a defining moment for me. Obviously, as like new to being in a touring band and a lone bass player.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But that show, that's a cool like. Definitely a cool glimpse into like what things can be.
And we've done things similar since, but it took it took years to even get close to it.
Yeah. Well, like the Fit has done just marvelous things and played just crazy shows without me being there, like touring with As I Lay Dying, being in like
I can tell you that playing Europe with As I Lay Dying is something that you'll probably never experience in your life, dude. It's funny. I think probably Fit had a better time than we did. As far as like As I Lay Dying fans could not care less about us being there, and it was insane. No, it wasn't. It was a lot of fun, but like our crowd compared to their crowd were just 2 different people. Yeah. Like it was crazy. Which, it's also like. As I Lay Dying is very European loved metal, and Era isn't. You know what I mean? Like Europe loves their old school, heavy, just dark shit. We're finding our place, you know. But like I would, even if no one gave a shit about us, still I would still go on tour every time because it's insane.
Of course, of course, yeah. But I remember them being like, "Well, we just." Played to 6,000 people in a club show. Just okay, like
good for you.
Yeah, that's nice. Like, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been on stage with that many people watching ever.
I will be honest. Tim from that band talked to me during that tour, and he worded it the best. Past about 3,000, you can't really tell a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Makes
stops,
sense.
like the lights stop even illuminating the crowd. Like you're playing
makes
for like the
sense.
first 1,000, and then the rest is just you can take it or leave it. Obviously, you want it, but
Yeah.
as far as
Cool.
playing live goes, there's not much of a different vibe.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Good times.
Even if it's not true, I'm gonna keep telling myself that so that I'm not a chicken shit on
it
stage.
seems true. Yeah. We, on Warped Tour, we definitely had those days where it's like, I cannot believe how many people are over here right now. And you just have no gauge.
Right.
Just no grasp on like how big the audience actually is.
Like between 100 and like 500 or 600 around there, as a touring musician, you get pretty good at like guessing the room.
Yes.
You're like, we probably had like 350 tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Around that area, you lose that ability 100%.
Oh yeah.
But
not a bad thing.
No, it's definitely not a bad thing. This podcast is definitely lasting longer than normal, but as long as you're okay with it, I'm happy to be talking to you.
I don't even know what time it is.
That's good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about gear a little bit. I know you mentioned Helix earlier. You were like one of the first dudes I knew who played a Helix. I think.
Yeah.
When you got one, you were like kind of like. I mean, you weren't like. In my eyes, you were the leading member of the Helix crew. You know what I mean? Like, I had never heard of it. You showed it to me.
Sure.
It was super cool to me. Are you still playing one?
Yeah, I use it for my effects in front of my amp at home. It's fine. It's not. When it comes to, I'll say this: you have to put certain effects in the loop of your amp, or else it's just, if you're like in a high gain territory.
Oh, I'm going through that learning phase right now.
It's like crucial because the effects are like kind of dirty. Like, there's just some intense digital processing inside that unit, so it's really cool. It's really versatile. It is absolutely a like smash piece of hardware for less gain, like a lower gain application. If you were to just use like everything in the box for like, so if like Fit for a King's gain or like overdrive is like a 10 out of 10, any band from like 0 to like 6.5 to 7 would be like, yeah, use a Helix because it's gonna sound awesome. The amps are gonna sound really good. Like, the amps are really cool, but the things that they have in there for high gain applications,
I get what you're saying. Okay.
Are not.
It took me a second
great.
To get there, but I got there.
Great.
Yeah.
So because I was excited about like, well, if I can just like build my tone completely in the box and then just hit a power amp and send that straight to a cab.
Which that is most people's appeal to the X-Vex.
Yeah, of course. And so I was like, well, if the Helix is anywhere as good, then this will be fine. And I did that for one tour. And it probably didn't help that I was using that like 4 Magnum. I think you used that one at some point. It's like the little pedal power amp.
I got such praise on that thing, and that thing ended up being the bane of my existence. And I vouched for it for some people. I'm sorry that you played one.
Well, no, I mean, it was, I needed it to like fit on my pedal board. I needed it to be small. I didn't have anywhere to
that thing's idea is amazing, but I don't think it was as well. And I even went to Electro Harmonics at NAMM and told them what I was using it for, and they're like, really? They're like, I don't think you should do that. And I was like, okay. I blew through like But even still, at the same time, you could buy a backup for like 4 times the price of a normal power amp. It kind of like its application is still viable in my mind.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But it was fine, but the end all for that is you really want one of those like Mesa like 290s or something like that. Like, you really want tubes in between.
The Matrix I've always found to be
Matrix is good.
Yeah,
Matrix is good. So I think I just never gave it a fair shot with a really good power amp. But even just going DI out of the Helix was, dude, it was a joke. It was like, this is just not gonna work, especially going from a 5153 to that. You want it to be comparable, and it wasn't even close, like not even close. But if you're a band like Thrice or like anything with just like lower gain, it's gonna be perfect. I could see it being really good at like church, if that, you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Because if there's not a lot of gain happening, the delays, the reverbs, all like the choruses, they're all really good. But I just found if they're in front of your amp, in front of a 5150, it's just really messy, really dirty, really noisy. But once I figured out how to run it through the effects loop of my amp and use it as a channel selector, I was like, this rocks.
So what I'm rocking right now is the new Rev head.
Yeah.
The G20.
Yeah.
It has twin torpedoes built into it, so I can DI it into my computer from a head.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm currently using my Kemper as effects through the effects loop. So I just went through a pretty big like trial and error through that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and then I'm also running Rev pedals and this local pedal company called Swindler into it. So it's a lot for sure, but to get what I'm getting, I'm really happy with. You know what I mean? Like the fact that I'm playing an analog head and I'm getting it into my recording software or through my computer monitor, it's cool.
That's really cool.
It is, yeah, it's awesome.
I've always wanted to do something like that, but just money
yeah,
and stuff, you know. But yeah, the Helix, like the effects compared to like an analog pedal, like a nice like Walrus Audio. I mean,
well, so what around when you stopped touring? What were you still rocking the head live?
Yeah, it was the Helix into the 50-watt 5153, and it was cool. It was cool. I got it to work. I got it to do what I needed it to do.
But nowadays, you're probably more just playing through plugins and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love sitting in front of my cab. Like, I still have a full stack, and I still like jam in front of that. Yeah, like.
My God, I mean, overkill.
Well, I have.
Yeah.
I guess I could sell one, but I have these like custom
Omega. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought you played Omega.
Dude, they're awesome.
I used Omega a couple times at like there was a stint where they were like sponsoring every festival we played for a little while.
Yeah.
But then I heard that they actually cater a custom build to your needs and stuff, so that I should never gauge their quality by playing them through a festival.
No.
Which is almost counterproductive since they sponsored every festival, but
that doing like Omega, like providing a backline is awesome for like the local bands, the bands that need to like play tickets, all that, or sell tickets, all that stuff. But then once like the touring acts come on, like bring your gear up. But yeah, when we played a fest and they had 4 guitars, stage left, stage right, they had 8x12s on the stage, and I was like, how's this gonna go? Can my amp even do this?
Yeah.
Like ohmage or whatever.
Yeah,
is this even gonna work? So, and it was fine, but my cabs there, it's just 3/4 Baltic birch with Celestion V30s, and like,
I feel like every guitar player around our age should hear Celestion V30s and just be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, because I like went from playing orange cabs, which if you don't like orange cabs, I mean, I know you're a Mesa guy.
I play orange.
But, okay.
Oh, well, okay, so like right now, so that's the rev head right there.
Yeah.
And under it, hold on, let me see if I can. Under it is a 4x12 single speaker in the form of a small half stack slant cab. You know what I mean?
That's cool. Yeah.
So for my bedroom guitar playing, which is like what I do most of these days, the rev head goes down to 4 watts.
That's cool.
So I can break up that 1x12 with a 4 watt. It's awesome.
Super quiet, but
sounds like I'm pounding a 4x12.
Yeah. huge sound, but super quiet. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's why I do that. But then at the same time, if I do want to get that really big, loud sound, I will DI it to my studio monitors.
Oh yeah,
It's a completely different vibe, but it sounds like I'm all of a sudden playing in a venue. You know what I mean? It's really
that's cool. Yeah.
But I play Orange with Era.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, but then now we don't even use cabs, so it's like
Yeah.
You said what kind of plugins did you play for the music videos or whatever?
I just used the Putney STL tones.
Okay,
is it just the Will Putney STL
he has like a big pack, I think. But
Yeah,
you're an
it was
STL
that.
guy. That's your jam.
I like STL. I like Archetype. Who does Archetype?
Neural?
The Neural? Yeah, so I like Neural DSP.
I'm really sold on Neural right now. To just like download something off the internet and play it, and it sounds the way it does. It's like
yeah, with the I think it's the Archetype Nolly that I'm
Nolly has a great pack. Yeah,
it's there's the setting, the preset that's Modern Misery. I guess it's like the Architect's like amp or whatever.
Ooh,
sounds great.
It's like
exactly what you want.
I played the Blood Eagle one.
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah,
so good. But just the difference between the Neural to the STL tones, when you open up that Putney, that first amp, it's like almost twice as loud. There's like so much boom and beef, like you could probably like lose a little bit low end. But I like just in my ears before we did that shoot, I just A/B'd my preset for STL and my preset for Archetype, and
it being that up front and loud is actually super important for in-ears and front of house, because it gives you more wiggle room to do stuff like that.
Totally.
So that makes sense. I actually have I have all the STL stuff. I just can't get it to work.
It's weird.
And I probably could if I spent a lot of time on it, but like I already have Neural. I need to just sit down and like make it
work. That's strange.
I don't know why. I'm really good at tech stuff, but I can't get this stuff to.
Maybe you're not actually that good at tech stuff,
right.
John.
All right, I just made this podcast by myself. Anyway,
right.
We can move on. This is a funny question that I just added, but it pertains to you probably more than anybody. In an alternate reality, what's your life like when you're not touring in a band?
I guess I would.
You wouldn't be in the alternate reality, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I would sell plants.
Is that your passion? Are you passionate about plants?
I love it.
Really? Okay.
I love it. Oh yeah. I mean, it's my main hobby outside of music.
I did not know that for a long time.
Dude, I had nobody to. I mean, I never like.
Yeah, no fellow botanists around.
Not that I know of, but to be fair, I never like talked to.
Yeah. So yeah, I had no clue. Like I knew you pretty well, and then you just opened a plant shop, and I was like, wild.
But I just never talked about plants because, like, I don't know, you just don't talk about your hobbies. I guess I don't know. Like,
I think that might just be you.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly. But I think like if it makes like I learned that you loved coffee like early on because like who doesn't love coffee? Like I love coffee. This is something that we can all talk about. But it just never felt normal or appropriate to just be like, I love rare and exotic tropical plants. Like how do you feel
So you loved them? Hey man, I'm down to learn. I want to learn about plants.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, so like lately, I feel like plants have kind of you opening up a shop. Now is probably a pretty good time because I feel like plants have gotten popular lately.
Very.
Yeah.
Very, very popular.
Yeah. So as of late, more of my friends have been getting into them, and I've been learning a little bit about them. Yeah. I do not have the attention to take care of plants. I've learned they will die if they enter my house, but I still appreciate them. I respect the. Yeah. It's like an art for sure to take care of like an exotic plant. But that's awesome. I'm glad you found that or have had that.
Oh yeah.
Did you see cool plants on tour? Like were there like the nerdy little moments on the road where you would like see something?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh, Florida, California, Southern
Yeah,
California, and then
the more
Florida.
tropical areas or whatever.
Yeah, you start seeing palm trees, and you're like, okay, it's about to get real. And then like
Oh
Southern
shit,
California, yeah,
that's
Southern
sick though.
California, it's like really, really nice xeriscape, really nice hardy plants, nice desert plants that, like in North Texas, it gets too cold to grow them. So, but yes, very much so.
I think as I get older, I appreciate plant life more too. I did a little bit of traveling outside of the band. Like I went to South Africa, uh, and we did a safari in the middle of the jungle, pretty much.
Yeah.
And a lot of the plant life actually caught my attention more so than the animals. It was
sure.
like
Yeah.
really. I feel like plant life gets more otherworldly in some areas, and that's like cool to me.
Yeah, no, it really does. And especially when you incorporate, like, first of all, like the continent where like man was created, there's a lot of things happening that just simply don't on in other parts of the world. And it's also a subtropical climate, depending on where you're in, and being in the jungle in South Africa, like it's definitely a tropical area, like subtropical area. So the plants are going to be cool. I feel like this is when people are going to start like bailing from the.
Oh yeah, but that's fine because actually someone said they just checked out the Grow Plant Shop on Instagram and it's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah. People love you and your plants, Bob. Don't be ashamed about your plant love.
I shouldn't be ashamed of my plants.
No,
you're right.
No, you shouldn't.
I should not be.
Especially, dude, you're now a small business owner. You're killing it. That's awesome. Like, you're succeeding in more avenues than your band, and you're already crushing it there. So, like,
yeah, they suck. They're not doing a good job at all.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. It's definitely been interesting. Just a lot of work. I'm working harder now than I ever have, but it's cool because it's something that I just truly love and stuff that just comes naturally to me. And it's just long hours, just shutting my brain off and doing what needs to be done. And it's not hard by any means. The hardest part in the beginning is just getting through the phase of like, are we going to be able to like pay our mortgage and keep, pay for our cars and all that stuff. And once you get through that, life gets pretty cool.
Yes, it does. So, it does. Life gets a lot cooler when you're not stressed about stuff like that.
For sure.
Did you ever go to like any like botanical gardens, or like have you always been about those around where you live, or were there any traveling that you were stoked about, stuff like that? Or are you more of a wild plant guy?
Not really. No, I mean, I never I've been to the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens. I don't know. Yeah, it's not really. I was just more of just like I just like to like nursery hop, just go from like.
Yeah, there's a couple of nurseries around here that I went to with my girlfriend, and they kind of blew my mind with how like some of them are huge.
Yeah.
I don't know how any amount of staff, because I can't keep like 3 in my house alive and then go to a nursery.
Well, you just get to a point where you can just like look at a plant and know if you need to water it or not.
Right, and I guess there's like a routine and a pattern, kind of.
It can be, yeah. And it's going to change throughout the year, but yeah, it just comes with experience.
Yeah, okay. I had to talk to you about your passion. So, is there anything else besides plants? I mean, you're a father, which takes up a lot of your love and your time.
For sure, yeah. That dude, just man, having kids. I
guess it does take away some hobby time.
Well, that's why I only play guitar from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. It's like as soon as my kids are asleep, that's when. But it sucks because I either like choose to go to work, like go up to our warehouse and start working with plants, or go and play guitar and like chill, So, yeah, just having kids. If you let it, you can learn a lot about yourself. It can be a very introspective thing in your life, and I have just loved every second of being a father. And yeah, just one thing I've learned, like if you're a good parent, chances are, like, if you just pay attention, chances are your kids are going to be cool and like you won't have problems. So obviously every circumstance is different.
Yeah.
And that, you know, kids are going to have like behavioral issues, whether they can control it or not control it. So, you know, every household is just going to operate differently. But I've just learned like just being there for your kids and paying attention to them and putting their needs will definitely like do a lot for you and a lot for them.
Well, and like, there's been plenty of parents who don't do those things you just said.
A lot.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it definitely goes a long way.
Yeah.
Wow. I admire you, buddy, for sure. You're doing a lot
Thanks.
right now, man.
Thank you.
Especially in a time right now where like a lot of people's livelihoods and worlds were just rocked with this pandemic.
Yeah.
Like I did not have a side business when the pandemic hit. So when I stopped touring and my coffee shop stopped serving, and I was just like, I mean, you're looking at the response to that. I started a podcast. I'm active on Twitch and I do stuff like this, but like, for a short period of time, I was in panic mode. But I'm super proud of you and everything you've done. And
thanks, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was big panic for us too. Like whenever our governor was just like, "Yo, we're shutting down. Like nobody's only essential businesses are open." But it honestly didn't even. It didn't take that for us to close. So we went on like our first ever like family vacation on spring break. We went to Disneyland in California, and it was this like it's this milestone moment because it's the first time we've like bought plane tickets for the four of us and like got an Airbnb it was like the first ever time we'd ever like just saved, traveled, did the whole thing.
Did the whole Griswold.
Did the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then we're there and coronavirus is sweeping
the nation,
country like wildfire. And we're like, oh, like maybe we shouldn't go to this like amusement park while we're out here. And it's like, this is not good. This is looking really weird. And then you're hearing like, well, if you're in an airplane, if you're traveling, you got quarantine, you can't like be around people, all this stuff. We're like, well, I guess we can't have our business open whenever we get home.
Yeah.
We might be asymptomatic and we just don't know it.
Yeah.
And it was so early on that like you couldn't just go get tested. It wasn't available. You had to be like at risk, high, like old age, whatever it was, you had to be like a certain category of person to get a test, and we weren't that. So we were like, well, I guess we're just going to close our shop and just sell plants online and see what happens. So there was a couple weeks where we were just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
When is this going to stop? And still don't know the answer to that, obviously.
Right. But I think
made it through it.
I think enough time has passed during this pandemic where people have like learned to cope in the best way that they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Yeah, totally.
My shop's opening back up this week or next week. My coffee shop.
Great.
Yeah. And
That's
I'm
awesome.
I'm one of 3 employees out of like 20 or so that's coming back.
You got lucky. Yeah. That's great.
I think it was also my ability to just hold out. Like I think a lot of people just moved on.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, I'll come back whenever, you know?
For sure.
I love that job. Like any job that lets me tour, I'm holding on to for dear life. And
absolutely.
That coffee shop is my plant shop for you 100%. Like,
yeah.
I'm passionate. Yeah. I understand it. I'm a nerd about it.
Totally.
I don't want to lose it.
I'm glad you're able to go back to it.
Yeah, I am too. I love the people I work for.
It's wild that, man, like in North Texas, I'm getting a phone call.
You froze.
Disrupting things. It's frozen.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll just stare at that face for a second.
But North Texas, just everything has been open.
Yeah, literally, I mean that's kind of how Birmingham is right now, and it's crazy because like we're not doing any better than we were.
No.
Yeah.
So that's when you the people that own your shop are probably just like, well, we're living with this, so I might as well just open back up.
Yeah.
Shit's not changing.
Well, and I also feel like I know a couple people who've had it, But if you're just smart and
Yeah.
cautious about what you're doing, I feel like you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
Like, I've gone grocery shopping a lot, but like, I don't touch shit I don't need to touch. I wipe my hands after I touch shit. I'm fine. I haven't gotten sick. I don't know. It's like, what are people doing? Like, are people actually just going to bars and drinking after their friends? Like, I feel like that's the only thing that could be.
So what you just said, if you're the type of person that thinks the opposite of that, you're the reason.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. People that are like, I don't have to be careful because there's nothing to worry about.
We hate you, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Like, a guy came in my shop on Sunday. I'd never seen anything like it, and I'd heard about it. Mesh mask.
Oh, like it's like a statement. He's wearing that to like say
mesh mask, dude.
Or did he actually not understand that that's like not?
I got like big cop vibes from him, like big time. Just judging whatever. I'm just gonna do that right now because wearing a mesh mask in my shop where we have to wear masks. It's not my rule.
Right, yeah. Like as servers, like I'm going to have to wear a mask for 40 hours out of the week next week.
Yep.
I have no say in that.
And it's not your business owner's discretion. It is just it's a mandate, and like when I saw that, I was just hoping that like people like you didn't exist and it was all just like a weird dream that we're having.
And, or like a false Facebook.
Right.
Toxic.
But man, like it then became a reality that there are people that don't care. And they're just making the whole thing worse.
Yeah. It sucks. I'm not there yet. I will experience it. It's coming up. But I've also never been one to, like, if someone walks in with that shit, I'll just tell them straight up, you gotta leave. Because I don't care if I sell that person a $4 cup of coffee.
Right. I had nothing to say. I was getting the vibe that he wasn't going to buy anything. But that's, the only time that I've seen anything like that. So it's like, well, it's obviously like definitely leaning towards the side of caution with most people.
That's true. I when I go grocery shopping around here, I think most everybody's wearing masks, and it's like, when you're on your social media all day and you see this war that we're constantly in with everything, it's like,
dude, it's brutal.
You feel like there's a lot more of those people, but there's not, and that I can take comfort in that, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe those people just want to stay at home where they should be.
I guess. I don't know. I don't really get it. I mean, but at this point, we just don't know who to trust or believe. So you just go with your gut.
Yeah.
You just
do
what feels right. You just do what feels right, and that's it. Like it. Yeah, that whole topic. That's something that's we could talk about that for days.
Yeah. Well. Let's talk about something else though.
Yeah.
I feel like it would have come up by now. Do you play any video games? Nothing at all.
Zero.
Wow.
Zero.
This is where we'll lose all of our viewers.
The last video games that I played were Tony Hawk Underground and
PlayStation 2.
Yeah, PS2. NBA Live 2K5.
2K5. I mean, let's be real though. You have a business. You have kids. Yeah.
Yeah, if I didn't have kids, I'd probably have a rig. I'd probably who doesn't like video games?
Never too late, man. You don't know.
It's just
when those kids go off to college, you might be a big gamer.
At some point, it will happen for sure.
Okay.
And I see us probably getting like an N64, just like, or trying to find one, just something like that. Just like keeping it simple and just making it I don't know, because I don't know how old the kids are going to be whenever they like want to bring video games.
Yeah, well, right, yeah, because that's also like a big thing. Like eventually, your kids probably will want to play video games because it's just part of life now. Like it's such a big culture. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
And like they're probably gonna
I
go to their friends' houses and play video games or
totally.
yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's, just technology across the board. That's how it's going to go down because we're not pushing anything. We don't, I mean, this is what we don't have a TV in our house.
Wow.
We literally don't have a TV.
So you guys are
And
never mind.
we just don't. Like,
Yeah.
whatever.
I'm not gonna say what I was about to say.
Feel like it's here, this, that. Yeah.
No cars or electricity, or you're leaning more that way.
We're Amish.
That's what I was gonna say, but I didn't want to.
I mean, we watch stuff like on our like laptops and stuff. I mean, it's not like they're not watching Disney Plus and stuff. Like
right,
that.
yeah, no, this is something me and my girl talk about. Like, we're gonna have kids one day. We don't want. I think we're not gonna let them watch TV unless we like watch movies together as a family.
Totally.
Do you do that?
Yeah. So there will be mornings where like, especially now with like having a baby and like getting like our son is now a week old, and like so Emily like taking care of him, and then like me getting like things ready for the shop in the morning. Like this morning our kids were watching a show on the laptop, just the two of them on the couch, but like it's a very rare thing, but sometimes.
Well, and like that's how I
the way to
feel
go.
like it should be, because I've seen so many families in like restaurants where like the kid's just attached to an iPad. And it's like, dude, that's
vicious.
It's toxic.
Dude, that's vicious. Yeah, because you're like forming an addiction there, and
At the age of like 3 or 2 or something, like they don't know any better.
Yeah, you're not gonna be. You're gonna have a hard time going to a restaurant and getting that thing away from. That's like, that's a pretty vicious cycle.
So that's what me and my girlfriend see and steer away from as far as we can.
Totally.
So
yeah. I think that's just the best way, the most like as much human interaction that you can have with your family in terms of entertainment or whatever. Like, yeah, that should be the goal. But using devices as distractions and stuff like that.
I'll be
adults,
interested.
We all do it.
You'll probably get like a modern video game system one day, and I'll be interested what takes you back. What gets you into
I'll
it.
probably just play like, I'm sure I'll get like MLB whatever year it is.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I've never played like Halo, any game like that. All of those, like the last like first person shooter I played was
007.
Gold.
I knew it. I could feel it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That was a big one though. Like that before Halo, like that was like the monumental.
It was like there was that, and then I think there was a Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
But yep, that's it.
Wow, that's funny. I called that.
It's been a long
Do you
time.
cook in your house?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
We're big on breakfast. We're big on scrambles. We're big on like just like rice bowls. Like stir fry-esque things. Just stuff that's like quick, high protein.
You can make a lot of
low carb. Yeah, you can prep a lot of stuff. Let's see.
I've gotten into cooking a lot as of late, and it's it's like creeping up as a passion. So it's kind of cool to hear other people.
For sure.
Food stories.
A friend of mine turned me on to Maddie Matheson on YouTube.
I don't know who that is. No,
dude, he has a show. He has a lot of shows on YouTube. His like personal show is called Just a Dash. It's a cooking show.
Okay.
He is hilarious.
I'll check that out. I'll get into that.
He's awesome.
It's funny. I'm getting more into YouTube culture too, because I have to. I upload these to YouTube, and now that I've never had a channel in my life, and I'm like learning how to do it. And but no, I'll give that Just a Dash is the show's title. Maddie's hilarious.
Just a Dash, or you could just search Maddie Matheson and just watch him cook and stuff. And he just makes it. It just makes it look like anybody can do what he's doing.
And I believe that. I think cooking is just something people just have to go through a couple steps, and anyone can do it. Because I was trash at it for a long time.
You just have to try.
Yeah.
You just have to start, and then you're like, oh, this is not any big deal.
What got me into it is I started dinner subscription throughout the quarantine because I still hate grocery shopping.
Oh, yeah.
And I think now looking back, I think the reason I hate grocery shopping is because I just didn't know what to get. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's so much availability, but dinner subscription has taught me how to cook. I can
That's
confidently
great.
cook for people. I have the people I work for, or like one of the guys I work for at the coffee shop has 6 kids.
Hmm.
And we've kind of made it a tradition to cook for his family sometimes. So I'm cooking
That's
for,
awesome.
yeah, I cook for
That's a
like
lot of people.
10 or 11 people every once in a while.
That's great.
And I can do it confidently and happily. Like I take pride in it. Like people come over and eat at my house now. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna treat you right. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah, it is something I've like really gotten into lately.
I have not cooked for anyone in a very long time. Very, very long
Yeah,
time.
we could definitely be better about the whole like quarantine thing, but like this is like close. Like we don't hang out with anybody. We rarely get to see our friends, so like
Yeah.
a dinner with them every once in a while, I don't mind. Ever.
Well, and if you're going around people that you know have been like aware and
Yeah.
cautious like you have, then you can have some confidence that like you're probably not sick because you feel the same way about all this that you do, you know. It's just when like if your girlfriend was pregnant or if you were like if you like had just had a baby, you'd be like, we're on lockdown.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like
that makes sense.
not coming. We're just like so
Yeah.
not we're just
Oh, and
not
that's
dealing
like
with
how you should be. You know what I mean?
it.
It's probably how you should be without a pandemic. Like it's just I feel like almost this pandemic has just opened people's eyes of how to be healthy.
It kind of makes you think like, wow, like maybe if you're not feeling well, you should wear a mask when you go out into public, you know,
Yeah,
like
almost like
I,
all Asian countries have been doing forever.
all the smart people do that and
Weird.
we just
Yeah.
never done it. I
Maybe the
remember,
flu wouldn't claim so many lives every year.
right. And I was just about to say, like, I had a bid where I went out to a restaurant to like just assess all the things for their plants. And I I wasn't confirmed that I had the flu, but like my kids had the flu, and I woke up feeling like trash. And I'm like, well, I got to go out and do this thing because I have to do this consultation. And I'm just there the whole time, like knowing that I basically have the flu. Just like, well, I'll just keep my distance from these people, and I won't like shake hands or do anything. But uh, yeah, I hope none of them got sick after me being there. But like, like it just would have made sense for me to have had a mask on that day. But I would have freaked them out if I had showed up with a mask on my face. Like, what's this guy
Yeah.
doing? Because it's just not in our culture at all.
Yeah.
Nobody was wearing masks.
I think it's gonna be a thing now. And if
It's not going away.
I hope. I hope
Yeah.
that like one day we beat this and people just keep their eyes open opposed
Yeah.
to just shutting them and blindly going back to really really stupid things.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of faith for I don't know, however many people, but man, I mean, yeah, I think like moving forward, you're going to be able to tell like who really cares about others
Yeah.
and like who just isn't here, and it'll just kind of be this like flag that you're waving about where you stand in the world, and I guess that's fine. I guess.
Yeah. We're getting close to the end. I added a question that I'd like to ask at the end of every podcast before.
Okay.
If you get, it's stupid. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
If anyone in the chat wants to ask Bob questions, I'll relay them to him. But do you believe in aliens? You're the most quiet you've been all podcast.
It would be a shame, and if there wasn't, and
Okay.
it doesn't make sense
That
to
there aren't.
me for the universe to be infinite and for humans to be the only form of like cognitive life. But what's interesting to think about is like our reality and like our realm of things, what we consider cognitive, what we consider our existence to be. may just not be how another species or whatever existed. The way we communicate, the way we breathe, all this stuff, it's just our version of living. All that being said, like Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, I got no evidence. I'm the smartest guy on the planet. There's no aliens. I have no evidence of aliens. And then, if you've listened to, I watched Edward Snowden on Joe Rogan. It's like, you got to hear what Snowden has to say. And he, worked at the NSA and had no evidence and nothing to, he's like, I have literally nothing to say about aliens. I have no information. And maybe it's because, I don't know, but then I've also seen things about, like, I don't know, like, you got to stay off Facebook because you just
no, yeah, you definitely should stay off Facebook.
You just got to stay off Facebook because you just don't know what you're reading. So, I mean, a part of me wants to, but I remember reading an article years ago, and it was basically just saying that, like, the more we study our universe and the more we begin to understand about, like, how we work and how we operate, the more variable factors there for another species like us to exist, so making it that much more difficult. So it's like the more we learn about how we're able to exist and the way everything aligns up,
makes it seem that much more rare of a phenomenon.
Yeah, definitely a phenomenon. So so my answer is I want there to be aliens because it would be a waste for us to be the only.
I mean, with that thinking, like, yes, there has to be, because when you think of how small our world is, like, if you look it up at the sky and you notice those are all suns with their own planetary involvement.
Oh yeah. And yeah, stars are not this tiny little thing floating.
Right. Yeah.
No, they're for sure. Yeah.
So I'm like a little. The reason I'm getting into this and I want to start talking to all my friends about it is because I do think aliens have already made contact at some point, and the reason some of these people don't have the evidence to support it is because it was probably really young into our birth as a civilization. Like, say aliens made contact when the Roman Empire was strong.
There's no documents.
Yeah, no one knows. And back then, we wouldn't have shot them with a nuke. We would have probably worshipped them or learned from them.
I've never seen Ancient Aliens. I've never watched that show.
I haven't either, which is funny. Which I'm sounding like a true believer of that show. But it's just these are just things I think about, when I'm alone at night.
No, it's possible. I mean, the blip of time that, like, our current, all of us, like, it's not even a glitch in the timeline of humanity. So the amount of things that could have happened on this earth.
I'm not going to say that I believe this, but I want to. I really, like, my personal crazy, like, conspiracy theory is I think that we are sentient cognitive beings and alone on the world because aliens had something to do with the evolution of our. I really do.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
like, why are humans so special in our intelligence?
Yeah.
Opposed to every other life form on Earth, you know what I mean? Like, what happened? So that's my thing.
And humans are very, like, obviously, like, failed and, like, flawed, and, like, we're just here, like, fucking it all up, basically. So yeah, there's really no telling. But the cool thing is you can believe whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And 100%. None of it makes sense because.
All right, guys, we're all aliens. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, we're all aliens. Yeah.
Okay, you did get a couple questions.
Okay.
What made you guys decide to re-release Descendants?
So Solid State Records was like, hey, can we buy this album from you and like remix and remaster and re-release underneath the label? And we were like, yeah, we need to do that because we don't have any money. So yes, that is a great idea.
Nice. Yeah.
And that was like the first time all of us as, like, musicians saw, like, a paycheck from, like, being musicians.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, it was a cool thing to do. And like,
It
looking back,
motivates you and it feels good. You know what I mean?
hindsight, would I have done that? Probably not. I think I would have loved to have kept the rights to the music, so that way we could have done whatever we wanted with it down the road. Because now it feels just kind of like this like stamp in time, and it's just kind of like stuck there, rather than like something that we could have like rebirthed or recreated, or just been whatever we want, did whatever we wanted like creatively, with that record, and now we kind of can't. So, well, I mean, to be fair, we've never even talked to the label about it, but yeah, simply just came down to like them offering to buy it, and we said yes. So,
And it's older music too. Like, I don't know.
very old. Very, very
like
old.
You could say that you'd probably do something with it in the future, but would you even really? You know what
Probably
I mean?
not.
Yeah.
The option.
Like, and in the time it helped you guys, I think it was the right move.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is probably my favorite question because it comes from Flower Power 2020. What is your favorite plant?
Oh, Philodendron verrucosum. Easy.
Second. Spell that.
Philodendron, Philodendron, and then verrucosum is Verrucosum.
Oh, jeez, I don't even know how you spelled that. Oh, it's beautiful. Kind of reminds me of like an elephant ear kind of vibe, but it's
in the same family.
Okay.
Araceae. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's really pretty. I like the really vibrant greens.
Oh yeah.
Philodendron verrucosum. Sounds like a Harry Potter spell.
Yes, it does.
Did I ever ask how Fit for a King start? No, I didn't. Give me a second. Hold on. Not really a question, but Jordanimal said he wanted to tell you that you're his main inspiration for writing riffs and that he loves everything you put out.
Thank you.
And that he appreciates
That means
you.
a lot. Wow, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. That's great.
I mean, okay, how did Fit for a King start? I start like conception questions about bands. I don't know. I don't love them, but we can ask this question.
It's simple. I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the band started.
Right. Jared's like the only original member, right?
Yeah, they were in high school. The band started in 2007. I didn't know them. They were just kids starting a band,
right?
Like everyone else. Yeah. And here we are.
Which should give every local band motivation because we were all where you were.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, I can't say we all were. Some bands just.
Yeah. You know, the thing that set Fit for a King apart early on, there was a keyboard player in the band named Jed, and it was his like life mission to make Fit for a King popular on MySpace, and was so dedicated, and probably didn't realize it, but was just like crushing the marketing and advertising game for that local band. And I remember when I joined, before the band was signed, they had like over 100,000 friends on MySpace. And
I used to be in a band in high school that had a guy like that.
It's so important.
Yeah,
you have to have somebody like that.
Yeah, we had like for a local band in high school, we did a lot for sure. Like and I think he bought bots to market us too. Like he went like above and beyond. And
well, I mean,
Well, no, but like on MySpace, it worked. Like you weren't buying bots; you were buying actual people to be friends with somehow.
I don't know.
No, it's just what he did, and then
it works.
Through that, I even remember that's how I got introduced to Tides of Man because we were friends with them on MySpace. We started talking and stuff like that. Yeah, MySpace is a different era for sure.
I miss it so much, and it was a phenomenal platform. When you posted something, when you put a bulletin out, everyone saw it. If they were logged on, they saw it, you know? And like, it was.
Dude, I miss MySpace layouts. They used to be so legit. Cool.
It was cool. We were coding.
Right, yeah.
HTML.
Yeah, I had a friend who was deep into coding, and he made a living off of MySpace layouts. And
still talking about Aaron?
No, this is a friend of mine named Chris Hawkins, who's actually pretty big on Twitch now. Just a dude.
Chris Hawkins.
Yeah, he was in a band with Jesse and Alex when they were younger. It's just a dude from home, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
he was crushing it on an old platform, and he kind of lost that because MySpace died out. But I remember like he was basically giving bands, even today, like bands don't have cool websites. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't happen. A band has an Instagram that's pretty much as in depth as it gets. But like,
Sure.
I remember he was doing like motion graphics and stuff on MySpace. It was crazy. It was ahead of its time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you knew how to do that, you were definitely just tearing it up. But
yeah,
and I love how Tom just like sold it and is just like threw all of you like out of here.
Yeah, mad respect
like,
to Tom, dude.
Like y'all aren't gonna hear from me ever again.
And then he made more money off of JT, Justin Timberlake, way back down the road, and then that never went anywhere.
And then it just died. It lost that touch. We needed Tom.
It did. We did need Tom. Was there anything else you'd like to talk about or say? This is fun, dude. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was good. I mean, stuff like just obviously with like not hanging out with people, my brain is just like firing with this like ability to conversate.
To bullshit, to say things.
It's nice. Yeah, it's really nice. But I don't know. I mean,
what do you hope for in the future, man? What do you want to happen after all this? If Fit for King ever gets to a point where they're like just doing these insane tours and they're doing it like twice a year, do you think you'll ever hit the road again?
We always talk about it.
Yeah.
But like that seems awesome. But then you think about like leaving your kids.
Yeah.
And
which that is sad now, but I feel like as they get older, it might be a little easier of a pill to swallow. Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't really see it getting any easier.
Okay.
But
even
Emily is down.
Okay.
Like my wife is down. She's down for whatever. Like whatever I want to do with it, she's fully backs my decisions. So
I guess you have the freedom to choose. You know what I mean? Like
I do.
Yeah.
And just with going back on tour, there needs to be like it's something that probably wouldn't happen unless they were in like a bus. Just X amount of like when they go in a bandwagon, it's full. There isn't a spot for me to sleep or anything. So like that just isn't an option.
Yeah.
So and then there's like room on stage, and then you start talking about like the finances of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like are you just coming out just to like hang out but you're gonna like
take all the money?
We don't have to get into that here, but like
no, I definitely see how it would be tough. But I will also say I think Fit for King is very close to that time.
I hope so.
I think very soon you'll see the bus days and big stages.
Well, dude, like the last show that they played in Joliet, there was over 1,000 people at that headliner. And like, I mean, the trajectory of that tour, granted it was stacked. Like,
yeah, we were lucky enough to have a really stacked co-headliner with North Lane.
Yeah. So what that feels like. It's like, man, there's a lot of people who like deserve this audience right now. But either way, I mean, I didn't realize how well that tour was going, but like pre-sales and different, like they were on track to like sell out Summit Music Hall in Colorado, like in Denver, like just they were gonna have some huge shows, and it is all gone.
And you guys aren't even like you're at the tapered end of your album cycle. Like things are only going to get bigger and better, and I
I have faith that like anyone that loves music and loves heavy music or is just a music lover, if you are ever a show, the day that like we're able to do that again, there's gonna be just like gangbusters, like so many tickets.
There's gonna be a mosh pit.
There's gonna be a pit. Yeah. It's just what sucks is like it's just hard. You can't even picture.
No, yeah, I know. It's
can't even picture it happening.
It's a grim nightmare that we're living in right now for musicians especially. Like,
Yeah.
what I'll
Sucks.
say is I'll support all musicians in all their endeavors right now because we're not getting to do what we love to do. I'll say that.
No. And like on top of that,
Go
like
buy Bob's plants and watch my
dude,
podcast.
yeah. I mean, like musicians, like when you like have this band that tours time, you made a decision to like split off that way and like not have a 9 to 5 and not have stability. And it's fine because you make it work, and like touring can be this stable thing, even though it's like kind of random. And then when that goes away, you saw firsthand that there's kind of like nothing waiting for you on
Yeah.
the other side, unless by some chance you've like made this thing for yourself. But
Which I
a lot of
think
people
is
don't
super. Yeah, I think it's super important for all band people to do that too.
now, and not just a
Yeah.
clothing,
Yeah.
not just t-shirts. Yeah, do something. Yeah, no, I
Yes.
mean, I'm not
No, no,
knocking
I
on
know, I know.
people
Everyone
with
had a
merch.
clothing line for a little while. That's why you say
Yeah,
that's funny.
but like, yeah, do something unique, do something creative. Um, like none of us. I mean, you're in a good spot because you seem to be like really close with your boss, and like that's awesome. But I like working for other people. Like when you do nothing but play music, and then you come and you have the job that you don't love.
Which,
Start
yeah,
something on
no,
your own.
working for yourself is definitely vastly superior. My boss is technically 4 people from a nonprofit.
Okay,
So, like, I'm as pretty much my own boss as I would be.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I work there because we have an understanding and we agree with each other as far as life goes.
totally.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah. I'm not, I don't want people to get the wrong idea of me working. Like, I don't just work for a dude who owns a coffee shop. I work for a group
Yeah,
of like incredibly big hearted, charity driven people.
yeah,
It's so easy to go clock in there, I guess. But
totally.
I'm
Yeah,
fortunate.
well,
I'm very fortunate. Love. But what I will say is I think I found these people through community, and I think that that's one of the most important things you can do in life is establish a community with people, because then you can help
agreed.
each other out. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Which a lot of businesses take the opposite approach
Yes, they do.
and just want to step on whoever they can to make things bigger and better for them. It's easy to slip into that.
It is because money feels good and profits feel good, but
Yeah.
um, that's not
But
what.
if you can be the type of person that's like, wow, my business is generating X amount, I can now afford to pay my employees more, instead of like, I'm gonna get a bigger house and I'm gonna buy a boat, like
Yeah, I mean,
so
so let me put it this way. The main reason I am one of the 3 employees returning is because they want to pay us really well for coming back.
yeah,
And
love that.
the reason there's only 3 people is so that they can afford to pay and treat the three
Yeah.
people how they
And you'll
should be
probably
treated.
work by yourselves, if I had to guess. It'll just be
There's
one
just
full
yeah.
time.
Well, no, actually, it'll be pretty full, but it's just something you can't help. I think
Sure.
it'll be 2 people and a manager on shift, and we have a kitchen too.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's gonna be extensive,
Yeah.
but 3 like hourly positions that get paid
Yeah.
what they should get paid. It's just
Well, that's great to hear, man.
yeah. I'm happy.
That's awesome.
I'm happy, man. During a time of scary shittiness and dark
Yeah.
wars and everything that's going on, I'm okay. And
Yeah. Good.
I want all of my friends to be okay. And
Totally. Yeah. It's yeah. From what I see and from the people that I talk to, like seems like everybody's making it okay. Uh yeah, just it's hard to get over certain things.
yeah, for sure.
But at the end of the day, I'm happy too.
Here we go. Oh, this is a perfect ending.
Yeah.
Well, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. It was awesome having you. We went double the length of my normal podcast.
We had a lot to say.
We did have a lot to
We
say.
had a lot to talk about.
If you ever want to
mean,
come back on, just let me know. I would be happy to do this
Sure.
again. Future.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, just let me know.
Okay.
I now am gonna go package some plants to get them in the mail
How do you ship plants?
very carefully.
All right. I'll see you later, dude.
Cool.
See you, buddy.
See you, Sean. Later.